for the faint of heart. We all stars, win or lose, we don't play the part. And when the going getting tough, I get to going hard. You bring your best.
Boston the Beast podcast. Thank you for tuning in. This is your host. I'll be the co-host today. She's going to run this operation.
No.
No?
No.
Well, we'll hodgepodge it like we have been. Man, quite the eventful week.
Yeah.
Jesus, is what I can say. We did Melissa's top most favorite thing to do in the world. Fly an
Going
airplane.
on an airplane. I hate airplanes. I don't like being in an enclosed space with a lot of weird people breathing their nasty breath funk.
Man, you see everybody on a plane. It's like the misfits from Walmart show up there.
Ugh. I just feel like I'm like in everybody's germ bubble. I just need to be like in a plastic bag. Nobody.
You know, what are the worst three things about flying? TSA.
There's no windows. Put some windows in the airplane so we can open that shit up when we're up in the
TSA has never really been a big deal for us.
Yeah.
They always got to run me through 2 or 3 times because I have metal in my body. I don't have any metal in my body, but somehow I run the alarm on.
Yeah, every time I get pat down too, but I don't have any.
I
I wear literally sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Right.
Or freaking leggings and
Maybe
a
we
t-shirt.
have high iron content.
But every time they're like, step out, ma'am, we're gonna feel you up and down. Do you mind if I do it, or do you want him to do it? I'm like, I don't care.
Female.
Like, I don't give a shit. Just freaking do what you gotta do. I don't have anything on me. Except these guns. Gotcha.
As I'm walking up and filled the water container up. I think it's on the way back.
Yeah.
And I'm like putting on the belt. I'm like, fuck, man. I chugged 40 ounces of water.
The guy sat there and watched it, and he was like,
chug.
I've never seen such a thing before.
No, 3 worst things. It's always so hot on the airplanes. Like, and people are wearing sweatpants, sweatshirts, blankets, and I'm over there.
We were like,
sometimes
so-
in a tank top. I have to get up just through the flight regardless, just because I'm so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we always pick an aisle seat. But it doesn't matter. Excuse me, watch your arms and elbows. So I'm like turning like this. I'm in Melissa's seat, like halfway, and they're still like, wham, wham.
The cart. Watch the cart, sir! As he comes flying into me every time, and then people walking up and down the aisle. He's like, boom.
And then they'll turn around, I'm sorry. I'm like, jeez, what? Those are some hips. Seriously.
See that wagon I've been dragging?
So the heat, and then, AC. It's like reconditioned air. It's not even filtered, though. It's just out, in, back into your face. Just nasty.
Like, I'm not into, like, this whole mask thing, but the airplane is one place where if I had remembered to bring it, I would wear my freaking mask, just because I don't want to breathe everybody else's.
A mask doesn't do nothing.
I'm not talking about that part. I just don't want it to smell. I just want only my own secretions in my face.
What if we just did plastic bags?
That too.
Just
I don't
zip
care.
them around our head.
I just want to be in a.
Just breathe in the bag.
I want
It's
to be
your
in
own
a
air.
full plastic bag on the plane where I can just cinch it off so nobody's funk is getting on me anywhere. And they don't clean that shit. Nothing on the plane. They have cleaners.
They don't
flip the tray down. That thing's filthy.
And they don't disinfect.
Who knows
They
what's
just
on the
pick up
armrest?
garbage and vacuum the aisles.
Probably poop finger. That little kid. I got a real poop finger story.
Oh, we got a poop finger story. Let's hear it.
This one's legit. So this was in Dallas on the way home. Airport. We had like a 2-hour layover. So we're like,
That was the most uncomfortable flight from Cleveland to Dallas.
Yeah, that's where the plane literally had no
so
airflow. It was so hot. My clothes were soaked. His clothes were soaked. We're both sweating, and I was like, I am miserable. Like, I was so mad when we got off the plane just because I was so hot and so uncomfortable. And there was like a normal-sized dude in the seat next, or I was in the middle. He was on one side, Rafe was on the other.
He's this type of guy.
Yeah. Like, he wasn't big, but every time he would, like, move quite often. And every time he'd move, he'd elbow me. Not intentionally, but I'm like, this motherfucker. But he didn't,
And then he had to get up and take a leak.
Yeah.
So we have to file out into the aisle. We had to get out of the window seat.
Yeah. Our seats are probably soaked underneath. So nasty. Ugh. Anyway, so he kept elbowing me, not intentionally, but I was just grateful that he didn't smell, he wasn't coughing, and he didn't talk much. So that part was good. Anyway, back to poop finger.
Oh, shit.
So we were in the Dallas airport. We had a 2-hour-ish layover. So
After she calmed down after about 45 minutes.
yeah, I had to walk it off. I was mad. Like,
I talked her into some Chipotle. I'm sorry.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
There was no Chipotle in the airport.
And so we order. We're waiting for our
No, we hadn't even... Yeah. Did we order over?
Yeah, we had walked through the order line and we're walking over to wait. And there's this mom, and she got like a 4-year-old daughter sitting on the suitcase and this little boy. And Melissa walks by and I look and all I see is cheeks and his hands all the way in his crack.
He literally had his pants, just the backside of his pants.
And all I saw was his 2 little cheeks. The kid was about this big. It was just...
He was probably like...
I started laughing.
He was probably like 2 years old.
Yeah, not even, yeah. I was laughing.
But he's got his fingers all the way in his butt crack, and I'm like...
Diapers are sagging past his knees.
His mom turns around, notices what's going on.
And right as she turns around, he goes like this. And then...
Wipes it on his shirt. And then the mom...
She grabs his hand like, did you got poop on it? And she's like...
And then she's got it on
and
her
she
hand.
does this.
I was like, oh my god. See, you guys, I am not lying about the poop finger thing. Like, this is a real thing. People are disgusting. And women...
Like, we're not eating here.
Yeah, that's what I said. We are taking our food and we are going way the fuck that way because I don't want any poop. Anybody else's... Well, I don't even want my own poop.
Well, and then
I don't want poop, period, anywhere near my food.
Like, I try to think back when my mom and dad took us all on trips, on planes. There were 6 of us at the time, or 7. There was a lot of us rolling around. But by the way, I'm the oldest of 10 kids, so there was a lot of us. I was the oldest. My dad flew a lot for business, so we had a lot of frequent flyer miles. So he would be able to go on vacations, and all the flights were free because he had so many miles in the air. Anyway. I'm just thinking, what would my mom have done? She had purses full.
I'd be carrying Clorox wipes if I...
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's quick fix. She's like, stick of gum, pop the kid's ears. You know, when you're in the plane and you're coming up in the elevation, so everybody gets a piece of gum. So that was a fun thing. And then everybody Clorox. Everybody wipe everything down. So that she'd have been like, whoosh, 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 wipe your hands off. She'd have been cleaning between your fingernails. And
I had that bag. I had brought a baggie of Stanny wipe things in my carry-on so I could wipe my own stuff down because...
But this lady, she probably was like, ew, and then walked under the plane and that kid's jumping around, putting poop finger
and her!
And she poop finger everywhere.
And they had a bag of food too. She probably ate that food with her poop finger.
Poop finger food.
So disturbing. It's disturbingly disgusting.
What is this? We're going to call this episode Poop Finger 2.
Poop finger reincarnated.
The second episode of Poop Finger.
But yeah.
Some of these stalls, not just in the planes. I mean, I'm talking about the airport first, but the plane.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there sideways, and I'm like, I got 1 foot alongside the trash, 1 in front of the sink. I'm trying to sling my ding-a-ling this way. I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like... And there's water all over everything. People don't... Just...
Wait, is this the urinal or in the stall?
Oh, this is in the stall in the plane.
Oh, the mirror. I was like, there's a mirror in the stall in the bathroom?
So I'm like looking at myself going... And then the planes, we were going through some turbulence. So
Peeing all over the place.
No. I got it in there, but fuck, man.
I only had to go to the bathroom once.
And I'm not very tall. I'm a little bit wide, but I'm not very tall. I was wondering, Brian Shaw, he's probably like... The door's not even shut. Ass cheek hanging out the door.
He's not going to the bathroom.
He lifts the leg up like this and just lets the...
He probably just carries a urinal. Like, I don't fit in there. I'll just pee in the bottle. But I barely fit in there. I only went on the one time on the way back. I was trying to hold it, and I was like, God, we still have another hour. I better just go. But I go in there, and I'm like, I walk in. Well, how the fuck is this going to work? So I have to turn around, lock the door, and then I'm trying to put paper on the seat because I don't squat, guys. That does not work. Every time I try it, I pee all over myself, and I've done it once in our marriage. And
No, you did it multiple times.
Well, yeah, but one time I literally soaked my pants, and we were in a public place. Oh my god. Anyways.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So I have to sit
on the side of the road one time, and it's just like I pulled off on a bake intentionally, and somehow she still peed right into her shoes.
No, this was the time when we were at
No, I know what time you're talking about.
the haunted house.
I know, but the other time when we pulled back off, coming back from Phoenix,
I don't know.
and then I opened the door and I had water bottles, with the whole fucking case of water bottles went right into her urine and just went all the way down the side of the hill.
Oh yeah, that was another time. I'm just not good at squatting. Okay, my urethra does not go straight down. It goes whatever direction it feels like, I guess. I don't know.
It was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so I have to sit to pee. So you better believe I'm lining that bitch with paper because I ain't sitting on that nasty thingy. And so I'm sitting there, and I look over, and the mirror is this close to my face. I'm like, well, I could look at myself when I go to the bathroom. This is nice. And I try to wash my hands in this 2x2 sink. You have to keep pressing the button to turn the water on because it doesn't stay on. And then I'm just sitting there thinking, what if we crashed right now and the plane went upside down? I'd be covered in everybody else's shit. That would be a bad day.
It'd be a shitty landing.
I'd be dead anyway, but still, I'd be dying covered in other people's urine and feces.
It'd be a shitty landing.
Yeah, it'd be a really shitty landing. But we made it back alive, you guys. Like, after 2 plane crashes in the short period of time we were gone, and I was like, God, why are we getting on a plane right now?
You're gonna find out that when you're married to a nurse, we're talking about poop or shit at least once or twice a day.
Yeah.
We're having full-on conversations about somebody's shitty hands, some sort of shit episode. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, why would you talk about that? It's like, because it's a natural experience and it happens in front of us all the time. I don't know if we're shit magnets or what. But
at some point in your nursing career, you've done your fair share of wiping other people's asses. So I'm done with that part of nursing, thank God. I've moved onward, but I spent a lot of years there.
The reason we went to Cleveland. We talked about it last episode of getting my umbilical hernia repaired. Dr. Grishkan was awesome. Probably one of the most humble, educated, smart, what's other good words?
Personable.
Very personable docs and experienced. 50 years experience.
Honest.
Very honest. And he's done, I mean, you got to think about 50 years in surgery. You've seen primitive things to the most newest age things. And he's not only done those surgeries, but he's an educator himself. So he flies around the world giving conferences about surgeries, especially in the hernia and the abdomen area. But I think he was a generalist.
Yeah,
I think he's done everything.
He was a general surgeon at some point in his career.
Yeah, ran a huge part of the Cleveland hospital. But I'd trust my kids with them with anything. If they had a broken toe, I would be like, go to him. I can trust 100% that they're going to come out in the best way they could.
Yeah.
So, he talked to us about, different laparoscopic surgeries, robotic, and he's old school. He's done laparoscopics.
He doesn't do patchwork. He does real work.
He does real work. He goes in there and sutures the actual issue. I learned a lot. And, it's healing right now. It's a little sore. I got a waistband on. If you look at her, follow the Instagram page. I did a post today. You can see, kind of before what the hernia looked like, put pictures with the doc. Mm-hmm. But, like we said last time, he's done a lot of bodybuilders. Michaela Aycock, he's been there a couple of times with hers. And,
Phil, a couple of times.
Phil, yeah. Phil's wife even came there for other things.
Rami.
Big Rami.
Rami.
Chris Bumstead, he talks about a lot. And they're checking his website. They're all on the website. Plus, he's got him hanging in the wall there, and he's going to hang us up in there too, I think. So that's kind of cool. But really good dude. Yeah. Surgery went, initially, we were having the pre-op on Wednesday around 3:30. They had an opening. We got in around 1:30.
Yeah, they called as we were walking out of the hotel to see. Can you come right now? We're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go
5 minutes.
sightseeing, or I don't know, shopping or attempting to shop. Yeah. The mall there was not great. The shoe store was not great, so we didn't come home with any shoes, unfortunately. There was literally no room to put it, though. Our bag was freaking already.
Check this shit out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's consolidate one checked bag to save money. It was 59 pounds. The cutoff is 50 pounds. So instead of $40 for a bag that's 50 pounds, it's $140 both ways.
It's $100 extra.
Yeah, I could have carried 2 bags at 50 pounds, so literally 40 more pounds of weight.
Yeah.
And it would have only cost us $80 instead of $140.
So each way was $140 to check one suitcase.
Swear whatever. Fuck this guy. It pissed me off first thing right when I got there.
$280 to check a freaking suitcase. Are you kidding me? Whatever.
Well, so once we land, the beautiful flight to Cleveland, it was great. Landed early, 10:20.
Yeah. Those 2 flights were not bad because both times the middle seat was open, so it was just the 2 of us on our side. But
that was because it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Clearly going on a Friday, people are traveling. And that plane was packed.
That plane, there was not an open seat to speak of.
So we get there, and then we get the shuttle over to the rental car department, and this is where I'll let Melissa tell the story.
Mind you, plane landed at 10:20. By the time we got to the little shuttle bus thing, by the time we were off the plane, all that, it was like 11 o'clock. So we get on this bus, and the dude's like, well, I have to wait till the other bus gets back, and then once that one's here, we can drive over. It's about 8 minutes from the airport. I'm like, cool. We're like, how late is the other guy on the bus asked, how late are these car rental places open? So it's 11 o'clock. And he's like, oh, they stay open until midnight. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. We got plenty of time. Mind you, our reservation to pick up our car was at 11:15. Our van.
11:30 at the latest. 11:15.
Okay, so we get there, and we get in the line at Avis because that's...
Alamo.
Well, we had Alamo, but we got in line at Avis.
Okay.
But at the time, we thought the reservation was through Avis, and Rick was trying to find it. And
I just saw A. I'm like, hey, it's right there. There's a line of people. Everything's...
Yeah, so that was the only booth.
that had people there.
There was Hertz, like, way down at the end, but we knew it wasn't Hertz. So Hertz had a couple people, and then the Avis line had, like, all of the people. So... everybody, let me just say this. Everybody there is rude as fuck. I was so irritated.
Cleveland or the airport?
Both.
Cleveland. Like people in Cleveland.
Yeah, people in Cleveland. Nobody has manners. Nobody says please, thank you, excuse me, nothing.
You gotta remember, she's a West Coast kid, and this is more East Coast.
You freaking hold the door for somebody, they just walk on through, don't even acknowledge the fact that you held the door for, like, it's just, people are rude. Don't laugh. I was raised to have manners and treat people with respect, and there is no respect out there.
I think it's just a cultural thing between the East and West
Probably.
Coast.
And I was like, I don't know. Is it because I'm white? I don't know. Like, is it a racial thing? I don't know. I'm not like that, but maybe other people are. Anyways, so we get to Avis. We're standing in line. The rude lady at the counter announces to everybody in line, if you just made your reservation today, we don't have a car for you, so don't even waste your time, basically. And we were like, well, we made our reservation weeks ago, so we're fine. So we continue standing there, finally get up to the front of the line, and she's looking. Rafe gives her his ID. She's looking, she's like, I don't see a reservation under this name. And then that's when he discovered, oh shoot, it's through Alamo, not Avis. So she's like, oh, okay, just head down that way to the Alamo booth, and she looks down there and nobody's there, and she's like, if there's nobody there, go to National, they can help you also, like they're the same company or whatever. So there's nobody at either Alamo or National. So we stand at National for a few minutes, and I'm like, there's no bell to ring, there's nobody around except the people at Avis. So I'm like, what are we supposed to do? And Rafe's like, well, I don't know, how do we get somebody? So I'm like, let me go ask the guy. There was another guy working at Avis.
Meanwhile, other people are getting behind us.
Yeah, there's a couple other ladies behind us. And
kids.
And they're like, where are they? I'm like, I don't know. I said, let me go ask this guy. So I go down back to Avis. There's this other gentleman working at the counter. He looks over at me, sees me standing off to the side. And I said, is there anybody working at National? And he looks down and he's like, there's nobody there. They don't got no cars left. They went home for the night. I'm like, well, we had a reservation. He's like, that's just how it works. They don't have cars. They leave. I'm like, so I instantly get, like, irritated. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go back, and we're standing there just like, what the fuck? And there's a little security booth in there, because of course you have these irate customers, because you run out of fucking cars, so you have to have a security guard to calm the energy in the room. So I'm like, let me go ask that guy to make sure. So I go down there. I'm like, hey, we had a reservation to pick up this car at 11:15. You know, our flight didn't get in until 10:30. There's nobody there. What do we do? And he's like, yeah, that's just how it works here. If they don't have cars, if they don't have any cars left, they just leave for the night. And I'm like, all right, fucking solid. And I walk away, irritated, obviously.
And so normally when we go on these flights, I always use Turo. 100% of the time use Turo. But they offered this Avis pimped out ass minivan, and I wanted to drive Melissa around in a minivan.
I was kind of freaking excited for it too, because I don't go in minivans very often.
And it was cheap, so I'm like, let's do it. You know, it's right there at the airport. We're going to be arriving late.
Yeah.
This, and this.
So mind you guys, it is freaking 11:30 at night at this time.
No, now it's like
It's freaking
getting closer to midnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck do we do? It's freaking dark. We are 30 minutes away
Oh,
from...
it's 20 degrees out. It's
snowing.
And it's snow everywhere, ice.
Yeah, like you can't go stand outside.
It's friggin' cold.
Like and there's like 50 people inside. Everybody's being told the same
so
thing.
meanwhile, this whole time, buses are still just arriving, dumping people off. They're all walking in. Everybody's starting to get real loud in there.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling at everybody.
Yeah, the security guard had to almost escort this old man out that was yelling at the Hertz lady because they ran out of cars. But then they miraculously found a car for him.
Just for that one guy.
Yeah, but the one guy that threw a big old fit.
Then Alamo's clients were going after their cars and then coming back in, like, it's out of gas. Like, it was just a shit.
Yeah, that was
Fucking
Avis.
retarded.
They gave him the key. He went out to get the car. He walks back in, and I'm like, the heck? He has the key and everything in his hand. He's like, no gas in the car. Like, oh my god. So
you have downloaded.
Yeah, I have Uber on my phone. So I'm like, well,
Picks the first guy.
I said, I think our only option now, because we damn sure can't walk there. It's 20 degrees outside, and it's a 30-minute drive, so we'd be walking until 6 a.m., not knowing where we're going. Anyway, so I'm like, well, let me just see if I can call an Uber. So I found a freaking Uber ride, but he, of course, was 30 minutes away. So I'm like, okay, well, at least he's on his way. So Osman was his name. Pimped us out in a...
Where is he from? Turkey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah.
40 years old, been here, went to college school, but good American immigrant, like hardcore American. Loved the guy. It was entertaining, and it was his first month in the city.
Yeah, he's only lived in Cleveland for a month. He came from New York.
And it was clearly a 45-minute drive because I think he passed the exit a couple times.
I think we got maybe rerouted a few times.
Because I remember going back, I was like, wait, we just came back from this way.
Well, I was looking at his little phone GPS thing when he picked us up, and it said arrival time to the hotel 12:27, and it was well past 12:27, and I'm looking at Rafe like, I see all these signs that say Beechwood, which is the
suburb.
The suburb we were staying in. So I'm like, I know we're in the right area, but why can't...
So the whole time I'm standing there at the fucking car rental area, I was waiting for the Uber. I'm on Turo, and I'm like, finding any car that's available 8 hours from now, right? And most people have a 24-hour policy. So I ended up finding one that would deliver an extra $90. You know, so it was $70 to get from the fucking airport to the hotel, and then it was an extra $90. But
yeah, it was $70 for that 30-minute car ride.
That's why I'm like, we're going to be doing this all day. And I had heard before we were planning to leave that we might have been going to some gym. So I'm like, I'm just going to get her a car. I want this to be a good time, not a stuff. So I just got a Mercedes, and dude Trayvon. Awesome dude, man. Just dropped that shit off in the morning. Was accommodated when we left. He was supposed to pick it up at the hotel. And I just messaged him like, hey, bro, you mind if I
bring it to the airport?
Just bring it to the airport, sent directions. You know, it's another $40, but that's still cheaper than $70. So, you know, I still haven't got the money back from
Orbits.
Alamo, whatever the fuck. So I think right now we're sitting between Uber rides, and this is for 3 days. Uber rides, Turo, and the rental car we haven't got refunded. Close to like $700 right now. It's fucking ridiculous. So.
And then, you guys, I'm starving. Okay, we've been on the plane for like the whole afternoon into the night. And I think did we eat at one of the airports maybe?
So the Uber driver, great dude, lifted her spirits.
Yeah.
And then I'm calling the hotel from when we're sitting there at the rental fucking place at the airport. I'm like, don't cancel this too. She's like, no, we still got it. I'm like, you got any food around? She's like, very helpful. No.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys.
I'm telling you,
said no.
They were so rude.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was intentional. I think that's just how it is out there. But I'm not used to that. So to me, I was like, God, these people here are so fucking rude.
Like, if you call the business looking for car parts, I'm going to be like, this isn't the car parts store, but what can I help you with, you know? And these guys are just like...
Nope. Like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Figure it out yourself. Like, oh my God. I said, I don't know what's up with these people out here, but they are not like the West Coast folks. So, we finally get to the hotel, and it's like 12:45, and I'm like, Rafe, I have to eat something. So, right after we had checked in, they have a little snack area at the hotel. He's like, do you want anything out of here? I'm like, no, I want, like, actual food. They have, like, crackers or...
No, they had, like, frozen...
microwavable...
Yeah,
freaking
burritos and...
dog food, basically.
Mind you, the whole time at the...
I mean, not that what I ate was any better than dog food.
Yeah, but Melissa's... This is the side... And I'll have to get on video sometime when she's kind of pissed. Because she's like, I'm just going to fucking starve. I'm just not going to eat anything. I'm sure I'm going to go to bed. I guess I'm trying to eat anything. And I'm going, oh my gosh, just stop. Wait till we get there, we'll find something.
So after we check in, we asked the lady at the counter, like, is there any food around here that's open? And I'm talking, obviously, I know restaurants are not open, like actual sit-down restaurants.
5 mile radius. Is there one place that sells food? I'm talking like
fast food. I know it's going to be fast food at this point, and I'm fine with that. I am just fucking starving. I need something to eat. So, something more than a protein shake, because we had a ton of protein powder, but I'm like, I need food. So she's like, well, I think this pizza place, she gives us a flyer, or a pamphlet thing for a pizza place. It closed at 12:30. So I'm like, I can't be picky at this point, but I didn't want pizza, I want some actual food. So we get to the room, and I'm on Uber Eats, and I find a burger place called Rally's, and I'm like, it's fast food, but at least it has burgers and chicken and whatnot. So that's where we ended up ordering from. And
this was good.
Yeah, it was freaking pretty good. I got a chicken sandwich, and he got...
And it wasn't just because we were hungry, because I was eating food the whole time.
No, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
But...
So I go down to get the food.
So I booked it, and it probably took like 30 minutes.
She's like, it's 30 minutes. Let's take the shower. By the time you get out, you can run down there and get it or whatever. And
yeah.
So I walked down there right as she had pulled up to the... And it's like 20 degrees out, and it's wind chill. And And
it's 1:30 in the morning.
I'm in shorts, a t-shirt, and flip-flops, and slides. And the cold doesn't bother me like it bothers some people. So I'm like, it's fucking cold, but whatever, right? And so this dude's laying on it's 1 a.m., right? It's 1:35 or 1:40. This dude's laying in the passenger seat with a hoodie over his face. And he's like, and then he puts it back. She lifts the seatbelt up this way to climb out of the car. I don't know what the fuck she was doing. And so I walk around the back, and I'm just standing there because she gets to the back seat. She's driving like a Ford SUV. It's not an Escape. I forget what they call it. Explorer? No, it's the smaller one from the Explorer. I think it's the Escape.
Escape, yeah.
And it was fine. And then she pulls the food out. She looks toward the front of the car. She's like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm right here. Standing like right behind her. She's like, oh. And she's like, what'd she say? I forget. She's like, are you a wrestler? Are you a wrestler or something? What you do with all that muscle? And I was just like, you were from around here? I'm like, do you see what I'm wearing? That's what I said. I said, you see what I'm wearing? No, I'm not from around here. She's like, I said, we're from Arizona. She's like, oh, we're moving there. And that dude from the seat just jumps out of it. Yeah, we're moving. He gets all excited that he's moving to Arizona.
I'm like, well.
But it's funny. Some people were funny.
Yeah. So then
the order was correct.
Yeah, he gets up to the room. He's like, well, this bag feels kind of light. And I'm like...
The burgers and the pitchers were like, yeah. Like a double Whopper from Burger King. Because those are the big Whopper, big burgers.
With Burger King.
These ones were like, yeah. Double burgers. So they were like, not very big. I could have had like 4 of them.
But it was good.
Yeah, great.
And
she was smiling.
Yeah, I was smiling. I was freaking dying when he told me the story about what Doreen, her name was Doreen, what she said to him when she got out the car.
Because she turned, I'm like, I'm right here. She turns to her and says, what are you, wrestler or something?
Are you a wrestler or something? What you gonna do with all that muscle? So we ate. Finally, we went to bed at like close to 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm up at our time, probably like 5 o'clock.
I think I slept till 10 o'clock the next morning. I knew. I was like, I'm not getting up.
Guess what the number one thing I'm thinking about all night? I just want to get to the fucking buffet and get some fucking food in the morning.
Because the hotel, like most hotels, have
like waffles,
continental
cereal,
breakfast.
some sort of fajita, egg, sausage, potato, salsa. And I'm like, hey, she's still asleep. I'm like, hey, should we what time is the buffet close? I'm thinking it's 10 because usually that's standard. 9:30. I'm like, it's 9:19. I fucking raced down there. Half the shit was gone, but I loaded up 2 trays and made 2 trips back up. Ate mine, and when she got up, she had a full breakfast too. So.
I was like, I am not getting up. I'm so tired. We were up till freaking 3 a.m. Well, it was 1 o'clock in the morning our time, 3 a.m. their time, but still way later than
we go to bed at 8:30.
Yeah, we go to bed early.
Yeah.
So it was way past.
We're up at 3:30 most days.
Yeah. When I go to work, that's the time I'm waking up. Yeah. So that part was rough, and then.
So once we get to then after the time she's done eating, getting ready, we're like, let's go to the mall or some shit. And then as we're walking out the door, they called. We went to pre-op, meet the doc, everything's good. Come back. Well, and then he's like, they wanted to have me at 9:30 initially on Thursday for my AM. He's like 2:30.
For the actual surgery.
I'm like, man, I gotta fucking start fasting from midnight. And we went to bed at 8:30, so I didn't eat.
Yeah.
I got up at 4:30. I had a protein shake and a cracker.
Because they'd rescheduled it from 9:30 in the morning to 2:30 because he had a guy from Dubai and then a couple older gentlemen. I don't know, whatever.
A couple of Amish dudes in there.
Scheduling wise, he was like, I want to get you in. I'm going to try to rearrange things, but we didn't hear anything.
As soon as we go to the front desk gal of the pre-op desk, she's like, you ain't getting rescheduled.
Yeah, she's shaking her head at us like, don't listen to him. He tells us, but we are the ones who know what's going on and it's not going to happen. So we're like, okay.
So we get there at 2:27 or some shit. It was 2:30. I started in 4:30 before I walked to the back there.
Sat there until...
We just watched horror films of the American Airlines flight.
Yeah, literally 4 hours. And I sat in that waiting room watching all about the plane crash, and I'm like, great, I have to get on that same exact airline in a day and a half. And
the interrogation of the new FBI nominee.
Yes.
Well, that was entertaining. That dude's pretty sharp. But anyway, get back there, and it was pretty... She's like, you can strip down to nothing, or you can leave your boxers on and slide this on the openings in the back. And so I'm like, cool.
The gown,
yeah. I said, so she's like, just yell for me when you're done. So I left my boxers on because they're just doing this, they're not doing that. They're not intubating, they're not stubbing some shit up
they did. This case was not a general anesthesia, it was just local, so that was cool.
So I do that, and I said, all right, I got everything on, but I think this is on backwards. She's like, I just couldn't tie it from the back, but she's like, you don't have to do that. So I got on the bed, and anesthesia came, the doc came. You know, in my typical fashion, I'm always joking with everybody. And then went to the back, and as I get off the bed, the tech was like, holy fuck, I didn't realize how big you were, because I stood up to walk into the surgery room and get on that surgery bed. And like literally, as soon as I lay down, I'm like crossed like this, they're adjust the arms so you're not like stretched out. It's nice and comfy. They strap your arm down. And then something over the leg. It wasn't very tight, but something over the leg. And then he just takes the gown, rolls it up, my blanket's on. It was chilly back there. He just starts scrubbing my gut, talking to me or whatever. We're doing an umbilical hernia. Yeah, this is the nurse, right? The lead nurse. Yeah. And then anesthesia's behind me. And she's talking and everything. And then my IV was in this arm, and I see her go, and she's just talking and just pushes the stuff in. I'm thinking to myself, I wonder when they're going to... And then I woke up from surgery.
And the first thing he says to me when I get back there, hey, babe, you think we could get some propofol for every night use?
Fuck, that shit's awesome.
Like, do you want to pull up Michael Jackson and die? Because...
So, right when I wake up, I'm like... And the nurses sit there, I'm completely coherent. I guess some people have a fog. But I'm dead asleep, and I'm dead awake, and I feel my legs. I'm like, I could stand up right now. Like, I did this to see if I could... Because sometimes you don't know until you move your legs, and then you're like, holy shit, right? And I'm like, hey, thanks, guys. And Todd was one of the nurses, and the dog. I'm shaking their hands as he's wheeling me out to the reception area. They're all like, this dude's completely awake, ready to go right now. They're like kind of baffled because I guess most people are in a fog or some shit.
But Dr. G arm wrestled him while he was still partially sedated, and he won. He has a thing. Every bodybuilder that he works on, he arm wrestles them while they're still sedated, so he can say that he beat him.
And I bet you my eyes are open and I'm there the whole time not seeing it.
So he arm wrestled Rafe, and he beat Rafe, and he's 76 years old.
The Instagram post, I got a picture of him and I.
He's a good ass doctor. I like that man. If anything ever happened to me, I mean, he only does hernias now, but I'd be like, yo, doc, can you hook me up? Like,
he probably
fix
knows
my hip or my knee or my freaking shoulder, whatever it is. Because I also learned from him that a lot of hernias are genetic.
Hereditary.
As in, like, the weak lining is a genetic thing, not necessarily... Like, because I deadlift, squat, all that, super...
What do you say, like 90-something% of people that have hernias, their family has it. Yes. Someone in their family has hernias. Yeah. So it's just a weakening of the fascia.
Right.
And it's just very loose. So there's the, what's the lower one called? Anyway, I have an umbilical hernia, and then what's the upper one?
Inguinal, umbilical, ventral. And
I actually have really thin ventral fascia, which is above the belly button. And so when he was in there, it wasn't an exact round hole. It actually was kind of contoured like an egg shape. And then he also went up a little bit. He wanted to go up far. He only went up like this, where he goes, if I go any farther, he's just going to be breaking down the integrity of the fascia with the sutures.
Yeah.
So now I have a very strong patch, but now my weak spot's going to be here. So I got to watch this because it's just the fascia's thin.
He has what they call a diastasis, which is the weakening of that area up here.
And you see it in a lot of bodybuilders, that their abs are spread apart, right? And that's that weakening of that fascia in the middle.
But I was not asking him, but I was like, how come I don't have a hernia when I do all this super heavy powerlifting stuff?
No belt.
I don't wear a belt. I don't do any of that just because I feel more comfortable without it. And he's like, it's really a lot of genetics. So I was blessed with that genetic. I suppose that I have thick.
Well, it was like...
Why can't I always want to call it...
Thick fascia.
Fascia, not fascia. We're not working on a house. I always want to call it fascia.
But I think, he had mentioned something like, I never had the hernia. I always had the weakening there. But the hernia happened when I put a lot of strength and size on. Mm-hmm. So those 2 years that 1 year where I went from 250 pounds stage weight to 237, like 21 pounds or some shit. In there's a lot of heavy lifting. So the weights also increased too. So there's a lot of abdominal pressure that was created. My abs were already compromised at that point in time just from age. Age thins that as well. What we also learned, and for us bodybuilders, this might seem new. It was for me, but it's not. If you think about it now, it makes sense. Just wearing a belt doesn't affect anything because the hernia is about that deep on us bodybuilders underneath. And so if there's a hole, that fascia's already broke and the intestines are coming through. So putting a belt on it just causes pressure to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And there's still pressure on that hole. So the pressure's going to go and that hole's still going to open. So if you have something that's showing, mine was never painful. And they were saying, that's kind of weird. Mine was never really painful. I remember one time when it first popped out, I was like, ooh, what the fuck? And I pushed it back in. But it wasn't like painful. I guess some people have a lot of pain. But if you have something that's showing, the faster you get it repaired, the better, because that fascia starts thinning as it's opened, according to what he was saying. It's thinning, so then when they go to resuture, there's less material there to reattach. And he's, he said normally a 20-minute surgery.
Yours was 45.
Or 50.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot worse than he thought. So
it was a little bit worse than I had in mind, is what he said when he came out and talked to me.
And we were aware of this.
Yeah.
Even before we left here, we're like, we can see a lot more, we can feel a lot more here.
And I told him, I'm like, no doctor's ever laid eyes on this, so we don't even know what it looks like inside. Like, he's never had a CT or any of that, so who knows the extent of the damage.
So they were saying, like,
not in there.
Tuesday, this coming week, 25 pounds. Doc's like, hey, let's chat on this one. It's a little bit worse than I thought it was. I just want to stay in touch with you. And maybe Thursday, Friday, we'll go to like 50%. No real heavy compounds, especially on legs or like bent over rows and things like that initially.
Yeah.
And, here's where I'm at. If it takes me an additional week or an additional 2 weeks, I'm fine with that, man. I've been kicking my ass for fucking 3 years. The last 10 months, I haven't had a deload or nothing. Like, my body could use the break, but also on top of it, it's like, I don't mind going into the surgery again. I just don't want to go on a fucking plane again.
Yeah.
And I don't have the money or the desire to pay for first class. So
I told Ray, I'm never flying again unless we go first class because those seats are too small for us.
It's a bougie bitch, man.
It's too hot back there. I need air. I need space and comfort if I'm going to be sitting there for hours on end.
I think when they designed jets,
it was a terrible.
They went to a country that had only people that were 5'1" and 120 pounds. They're like, that ass will fit in this seat.
They should do 2 aisle 2. 6 seats. Still 6 seats, but have 2 aisles.
How about they just go bigger seats? Like they do them in first class.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's literally 2 seats, and then it comes to the fucking peasants.
Yeah, the peasant cabin.
We have 3 rows.
The peasant cabin. We sit in the peasant cabin. It's still fucking a grand. Grand a ticket.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But.
And then first class is like $3,000 a ticket, but I guess it's worth it for comfort. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. When I'm back up, so when we came back home,
his belly button. Your belly button.
Oh, yeah.
It was completely detached, so the doctor had to cut it off.
You'll see it in the Instagram post I made. I got a picture of it where it's just like...
He was laughing because I told him, I said, I thought something was... I said I could grab it and pull on it, and I would do it sometimes just to fuck with him. And he's like, that thing's been...
detached for years.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, I never, yes, I'm a nurse, but I don't know shit like that. I didn't know a belly button could become detached.
So he did less than a 1 inch half smiley face in the belly button. That's how he got in there. But then he also had to do some plastic surgery because he took
skin off
most of my belly button because it had expanded and stretched. So he took most of that off to resuture. So
he's got a new belly button. He had plastic surgery belly button.
I always had an outie, and then it was an innie at the same time. So it was always weird shape. There was always an extra bit of skin, and then an innie. Now it's like a full innie probably, but it should be kind of flat. I don't know. There's sutures still in there, so you'll see on the Instagram.
Like Amy said at the gym, he had a belly button rejuvenation.
Tighten that shit up.
Yeah. So
I don't know. There's a couple pictures already that I've taken first thing in the morning. You can tell there's a little edema, a little swelling in the lower abs, but it's pretty tight. I mean, I think the next week or so it's still going to have some edema and swelling.
He did say up to 3 weeks for the swelling, so
I know my body pretty well. I don't think it's going to last that long, but we'll see, It just depends on what happens. No infection yet. A lot of walking. That night, we went straight, right after the surgery, we went straight to PF Chang's. We ate a massive meal.
Yeah.
And then we went on we were doing stairs and...
We walked for 30 minutes.
Outside and up and down. Oh my God.
I made him walk all the way up to all 6 flights of stairs at the hotel, and then each floor, we go down 1 floor, walk the whole floor. Go down the next flight of stairs, walk the whole floor, all the way back down to the bottom.
And then she started breathing so hard. I'm like, let's go outside. I'm sweating my ass off here.
Yeah, and it's freaking snowing. It's freezing. And I'm wearing
I'm wearing this.
The thinnest leggings you can think of with a sweatshirt because...
But literally, I was sweating. My shirt was wet.
He was sweating and I was freezing.
So we walked around and then ate some dessert, I think, that we bought.
Cake.
Melissa ate cake and dessert. I just sat there as a
massive
piece of... very, very strict bodybuilder that I am and didn't have 1 bite.
Lies. Straight up lies.
But then, it was starting to get a little sore again, and she went to bed. So I literally paced for a half an hour, just boop, back to the window, back to the kitchen, back to the window, back to the kitchen. And felt better, went to sleep. Woke up, not very much swelling the first night.
Yeah.
A little more swelling today than I had. And then the plane ride didn't help. My legs were all fucking...
Yeah, the way back was... Yeah. Both flights were packed. And it was, like we told you in the beginning, it was just... The flights back were miserable.
Well, the flight from Dallas to Tucson, they ended up shaving 35 minutes off that flight.
Yeah, I think they screwed something up.
But anyway, it was only an hour and a half.
Because we got back...
It wasn't hot. It was pleasant.
Yeah, it was cool. But the plane was also newer. You could tell by all the gadgets and stuff.
Because one of the other ones looked like someone had been roller skating on the ceiling.
Oh, so I told him, I said, this thing will freaking bend through it.
It's just from when they put the bags up, it just hits the ceiling. But
I said, man, I think this one's already been through a crash because the roof was all messed up.
Oh man!
And then we were sitting in the wing, and I'm looking at the girls like this. What do they call them? The flight attendant.
Yes,
She's doing the little educational thing about emergency exits. And I asked Rafe, I'm like, okay, so in the event that we crash or whatever, so like you kick that little emergency exit thing open or whatever, you pull the handle and pop it open. So what, you just jump out as you're flying through the air? Like, I don't understand. And he's like, no, if the plane crashes, the plane is going to break in half at the wings. The wings are where the gas is, so we're definitely fucked. And then there's going to be 2 pieces of plane just crashing, and we're probably going to set on fire and die. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, should I just get off of the plane right now and rent a car and drive the rest of the way?
We'll be in the front row then.
Oh my god.
Once we land and break, you'll be in the front row. Already
2 plane crashes in this short amount of time that we've been gone. And it's American airline. Not that it was their fault. It sounds like it was the Army Blackhawks' fault in that crash. But anyway, I'm like, oh my god, I hope we don't crash, because, I mean, I'm going to be dead regardless, but I don't know, I don't want the pain. Like, is it a quick death, or are you just, like, flying through air like, fuck, I'm going to die, and then you just die. I don't know. Hey, that's great, but then I'm like, well, I guess we'll never know, because everybody in a plane crash always dies. So
well, she asked me, what's my answer? Well, last time I died in a plane crash. Like, I just
want to know, like, why did they teach you all this emergency exit, freaking use the oxygen and the freaking life vest? Like, dude, if this shit goes down, we're all dead, period. Like, period.
Yeah, there's like very rare cases where...
Like, I'm not gonna be like, hold on, let me get my life vest from under the seat as the plane's falling out of the sky.
The only time I've seen those things work and function is when they were still on the runway and people had to evacuate, but they were way on the runway, so they just opened the doors and then the slides came out.
Yeah, like if you're on the ground, okay, I get it, but like if there's an actual crash in the sky, like, I'm sorry, but...
When that plane hits the ground without any running gear, the fuselage breaks in half right in front of the wings almost every time, and then the wings hit the ground and they explode into flames. Don't crash. That's the first rule.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, so we're trusting this dude up in the cockpit with 200 and however many people.
It was a big plane.
Like 270 or some-ish people. And then... One of the times when we landed...
Things that she worries about. If you crash, you're dead. Just forget about it.
One of the times that we landed, it felt like the whole plane was like, wham! Rafe's like, I think this is the pilot's first time landing a plane.
It's when we landed in...
When we were there, yeah.
Cleveland, when we got there. There was 20-mile-an-hour winds. And it's right... I mean, Cleveland's on the north side of Ohio, right by the...
Water.
Lake Erie. So there's a lot of airflow through there. Yeah, so it comes down, and he's like sideways, and I see him fix it, and then he lands, and then he's like...
Plane was all over the freaking...
She's like, yeah, it's like a ride at the fair. And I'm like, oh my god.
So I was like, holy shit, are we okay? Are we on the wheels?
No, like, he did good.
And then we saw this kid walking through the airport. This kid was not older than 25 years old, but he's a pilot. Rafe's like, that dude's a pilot. And I look back and I was like, that kid looks like a kid. That's the scariest thing I ever heard. But they
designed the planes after him. Because he was about $140, 5'6".
I mean, if you're smart and you know how to do all that shit, more power to you. But I don't want to know. I don't want to see the person flying the plane, because then I get even more scared.
He didn't fly our plane.
Well, we don't know that. Maybe he did.
Man. Eventful.
Yeah.
So we got back home, and
we got here an hour early.
An hour early.
Yeah, we thought we weren't getting home.
Costa Vida was open, so we had all our food frozen. So we had made it, but then when we leave, we're like, we just refreeze it so it doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
So we didn't have anything here, so we went to Costa Vida. Just got a rice. It's like a Chipotle, but way better.
Rice and steak, because they have the best steak.
So good, yeah.
And they're always out of it because everybody knows that their steak is good. So we just stand there and wait for them to make fresh steak, but that's fine.
Dogs were happy. Gramps was over here playing with them.
Yeah.
wrestling with them.
They love when Grandpa watches them.
Yep.
They get spoiled.
What else happened? Oh, we went after the pre-op, we hit a new restaurant, which is one of the things I like to do, and it's your first time as well. We went to a Lebanese restaurant, so it was very rice, kebabs, chicken, lamb, steak, and what was the other stuff that had the kiwa on the chicken on that sampler plate?
Couscous.
Couscous.
That was good.
Awesome food, but legit. Appetizer was this fucking, you could literally probably, I mean, we're bodybuilders obviously, but if you're just a regular couple, that appetizer would have been enough.
Yeah. If you eat normal size, if you eat like a normal human, that would be enough for 2 people.
So I ate 2/3 of that, and then we ordered an entree, and I ate about 2/3 of that, and then what's that bread called? Oh man, I'm terrible with names.
It wasn't pita bread, but it was like a puff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're from the Middle East, you know what I'm talking about. That shit's bomb.
What do they call it?
And then some hummus and whipped garlic.
Lavish? Or was that a different restaurant? I don't know. Anyway, it was like puff bread. It was hollow in the middle.
That was so good because it's literally bodybuilder food. Rice, good jasmine rice. They have their Mediterranean style salads that have a little mint flavor on it, but it's not Mediterranean style. It's more like just chopped tomatoes, cucumbers
and
onions, spices. Real good. I enjoyed that a lot.
It was okay. It wasn't bad by any means. It's just not my type.
She's a Chipotle best restaurant of the day.
I'm basic. I don't know.
I would
the food was good.
The waiter was even better.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He
knew his shit. And he was polite. He was polite. Okay?
Yeah, he was born and raised in Iraq and moved here when he was young kid in his grade school. So he grew up with all this food. He was very educated on what it was, and obviously he'd been working in the restaurant a long time.
Yeah, he knew that menu like the back of his hand.
And I always ask a ton of questions when it's new for me, and he was very helpful. The restaurant wasn't very busy at 3 p.m. anyway. So
yeah, I think we were the only dine-in people there after the 2 tables. There were 2 tables.
I would go there again. Taza.
Yeah. I saw at least 10 people come in and get takeout while we were there, so it's got to be pretty good. And then we drove by it at nighttime one night, and the place was packed. So that was good. And then we had PF Chang's, and then one night we went to Chipotle. They were the dude that was making my food was so high. His eyes were like this. He's like, "What can I get for you?" He made me the best fucking bowl though. That shit was 2 meals worth of food. There was so much. I only ate half of it. And that's unlike me. But I looked at Rafe halfway through and I was like, there's 2 meals in this thing. I am full right now and I've only eaten half of it. So he was high AF and he was just freaking loading it up.
Wasn't that the place where they thought we were circus animals? Everybody was just staring.
Yeah, there was a massive line. We got there just in time.
And these people were so unorganized there. There was fucking food that just were like this off the table all over the place. I mean, obviously, the place that we were eating off was clean, but everything else was on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a different Chipotle, but it was fine. The food was still good. But yeah, there was a massive line. We were at the front paying, and I turned around just to see what was going on behind me. And I was like, holy shit, the line is out the door right now. And as soon as I turned around, I just saw everybody staring at Rafe they'd never seen. Because around there, they must not see bodybuilders very often. Because everywhere we went, people were like, what the fuck is that? They were walking through the mall, and people were like, what? But
it's funny. I think your local shopping centers you go to where you're at, people are used to you, so it's just it's the bodybuilder.
I go to the same stores every week, so they've seen me a bazillion times.
But we go somewhere new, it's they're looking at they're seeing a celebrity or some shit, or
even
a cartoon character.
Every plane we got on, they were like, "Are you guys going to a competition?"
Yeah. Are you guys in prep right now? I'm like, dude, we're ordering fucking
We're at Chick-fil-A ordering friggin' chicken sandwiches in the
Now look, I'm not a fry guy in general. There's when I'm sick, I want fries. But otherwise, I'll have a fry. Like, I don't care as much. It's kind of weird, but... And then I do no cheese, because it's healthier with no cheese, right? Less fat. But I just like hamburgers and grilled chicken sandwiches. So we'll just get grilled chicken sandwiches, which is the chicken breast. I mean, it's not the best, but... I mean, a little bit of bread, you can... Whatever. I think it's pretty healthy overall. Plus, it tastes fucking good.
Yeah, because this whole trip happened, like, within a 10-day...
Oh, and I'm making up fucking... 10 days from when I talked to the doctor.
Yeah, and I told Rafe, I was like, I don't have time between work and everything else to prep all of our food for the trip. So,
and there's never a time where we travel that's not to a bodybuilding show where one of us is in prep. So this time we just took a couple things and we're like, you know what?
I told him, I said, I'm not prepping nothing except some food to eat on the way there.
We were as normal as we could possibly be.
Yeah, that was like the first time I think we've ever traveled without food.
In 8 fucking years, yeah.
Because I told him, I'm like, I know they have a Chipotle there, so if all else fails, I can at least get chicken and rice at Chipotle, if there's nothing else.
But man, P.F. Chang's, I'd never really eaten there. And I know they grill their shit on a lot of oil, but that, what'd I get? Mongolian beef. That's my favorite.
And I got sweet and sour chicken.
They brought us this bowl of rice like that.
And that thing was piled up high.
What we get, some appetizers.
Because all the plates are supposed to be, like, shareable. So you like, get one plate and share it with, like, 4 people. No, I ate that whole thing of friggin' sweet and sour chicken. It was big. I ate the whole thing. I was so hungry.
It was so good, though.
Yeah, and then he ate the whole thing of Mongolian beef.
Easy.
And then we got 2 appetizers.
We got a whole roll, too. That shrimp.
Yeah, the dynamite shrimp roll.
Shrimp roll.
And that,
Should we talk about poop fingers and food?
Yeah. What did I get for an appetizer?
We got the egg rolls.
Spring rolls.
The vegetable spring rolls. And they were not greasy. They were done perfectly. They were good. Yeah. And it was like literally a half a block from the 1.5 blocks tops. Like you can see the hotel out the window. It was right there. So it was close.
And then we found like the nice area of Beechwood, Ohio. Because I was looking for dessert places close by. And I found it was called Grater's Ice Cream, I think, or something like that. So we drive down to it, and it's in like this nice, like, if you're from Tucson, you know, La Encantada. It's like an outdoor mall with like lots of nice restaurants and shopping places and things. So it's kind of like the La Encantada of Beechwood, Ohio. There was like nice cars driving around, freaking Porsches, Range Rovers, all that stuff all over the place. So I'm like, this is the not ghetto of Ohio, because everywhere else was...
There were some serious places.
There's some serious ghetto there. But we were warned. We were told the east side, which is where we were staying, is like the ghetto area. So we're like, great. Well, thanks for the heads up. But yeah, that nice area wasn't far from where we were at. So we went and got ice cream. That was delicious. Bourbon pecan ice cream. Bomb. And what else did we do? We went to the mall. That wasn't impressive. They had one shoe store, and, well, I'm sure there was more than one, but one that had the type of shoes that we like, but they had, like, no music playing, so there was, like, no vibe in there, and it just looked like the whole store was kind of like...
It was kind of hodgepodge.
Yeah, like they just, like, stuck a rack, like a...
And they literally, every shoe was probably $30, $40 overpriced at any store, and it wasn't, like, in a crazy nice area or anything either. It was just...
And they'd have, like, 4 or 5 of the same shoe on the display. So you have like 5 of the same shoe, 5 of the same shoe, 3 of a different shoe, 3 of a different...
Not different color, like same color.
No, like the same exact shoe, but like 5 of them. Like, so clearly they didn't have enough actual new shoes to fill all the holes, so they just kept putting out whatever they have. But yeah, they were overpriced. Like, I have Dunks and, you know, retro ones and all this, and they're like $210. I'm like, I just bought that same pair for $160 or whatever at the Nike store. So I looked at Rafe, I was like, I don't want anything in here. Shit's overpriced, and like he said, the whole store looked hodgepodge, so we didn't buy anything. Really didn't have anywhere to put it anyway. All the bags were full, and we were already overweight on our luggage, and that thing was packed. You had to like sit on it to close the suitcase.
Yeah. That was our last week.
Now I have to go back to work.
I gotta go back to work, but
yeah.
I got home and the first night back, Friday and Saturday. What's today? Sunday? Yeah. My nose was just congested from the plane rides, and then I did some, saline nasal spray, and I had earaches bad as a kid. So 1 p.m. Saturday, I got this worst earaches in both ears, can't hear, and there's only one thing that cures that with me, and I keep it in stock because I got a buddy that goes to Mexico and he buys it for me.
Z-Pack.
Azithromycin is the only thing that works for my ears, and it's not something that I can fuck with. There's a lot of sicknesses. I'll just give it a day or two and it'll go away. Earaches are not that thing for me, so I just got to kill it. And I'm like, well, crap. Surgery, I'm not, it's a break. We're cleaning up. We're just relaxing. Get the surgery. I got sick. It's all happened at the right time. So I'm on that right now. I'm not lifting, so it doesn't really affect my strength because I'm not even fucking lifting. But yeah, so I got sick. Well, I normally don't. I mean, I feel good. I don't sound that bad, different.
I don't feel anything. I'm praying that I don't come down with anything because.
I know for a fact it was just because when I do that spray, a lot of people will get that dump into their throat. They can spit it out. Well, I'll get that dump, but then some of it stays back there. Then if you go back to bed, it just sits in my eardrums, and it's miserable, man. I hate it. It's the worst fucking pain.
I've never had earaches ever in my life, so I can't relate.
I remember from when I was younger than when you should remember how bad they were, and then all the way through my life, But I haven't had them. I've only had them once with you in the last 8 years, maybe.
Twice, maybe.
So I'm usually pretty good, but it already feels gone. I'll just, I do a 3-day smash and bang. A lot of people do a 7-day, 500 milligrams a day. I do 1,500 milligrams for 3 days in a row, and then I don't even go to I know exactly what works for me, so I don't even go to the hospital and waste all that time.
It's a waste anyway, because all they'll tell you, nothing wrong with you, because they're fucking retards. So.
But I'm an anti-medication type of guy as much as possible anyway, so if I'm using something, I'm in some serious pain. Like, this doesn't even hurt to where I need ibuprofen the first day. I might take it tonight just to keep the swelling down, but it's not even painful. Some of my leg days are 20 times more painful than this. But, yeah. Should we do a quick question?
What's the question?
How much growth hormone is too much growth hormone?
There is no such thing as too much. It's about how much can you afford?
Yeah, that's how we discuss it in the world, but the reality is it is very expensive, especially if you're doing pharmaceutical grade. If you're doing high-end generic, which nowadays you could argue is pretty comparable, but there's something about pharmaceutical grade that's just more effective and efficient in the body, doesn't hold as much water retention. And I know this from experience with my athletes and myself as well. When we use there is a difference, and you can absolutely see it in time. For females, I think doing 1 IU in the morning, 1 IU at night, starting off with even 1 IU of growth is safe. It'll never affect for a female, you'll never virilize from growth hormone. It's a totally different modulator than the testes axis. So it's very safe that way. And at 1 or 2 IUs or even 3 IUs, you'll probably never see a change in your blood glucose and your A1C over consistent use in time. I think it's a great medicine, if you want to call it that, because that's what it is. It's a great drug for just overall body comp, staying a little bit leaner, utilizing the food that we eat. I mean, the human body really wasn't made to eat 7 meals a day. So when you're doing that, you're not just doing that on a natural body. I think you can see guys at 5 to 6 small meals, but when you're eating literally 900 calorie meals 7 times a day, it's because your metabolism's cranking. You're a bigger dude, and you're probably on some, or gal, and you're on some things that help you assimilate that food at the highest level. And this is not when you're a beginner. This is fucking 10 years in. I don't think it's bad to start growth hormone right off the bat because it is way much more safe than testosterone. I think you need to have testosterone at a certain level in your body for growth hormone to work as effective as possible. So I'm all about being a minimalist on things and seeing how they function and work with that individual before going to the next level. And always, I'm always assuming that diet's 100% on, cardio's 100% on, hydration's 100% on, and you've dialed your food 100% on. Because if any of those are working, you just throw the drugs on top, they're only 2 to 3%, and they're not going to work because that's the base. It's like building a house on a mud floor. It might stand for a couple of days, but eventually it's going to...
A slippery slope. You're just going to slide right off.
Your foundation has to be set. And that's, training, food, sleep, hydration, number one. Over-the-counter supplementation for the body. So all your vitamins and minerals that you're needed for where you're at. And it's not the same when you start as it is 5, 10, 12 years later. You add things as you go, as you need them, as the blood work shows. How much is too much? I think if you're just starting as a female, that 1 to 2 is good. Run it for months, maybe 6 months, see what you like, and then you can taper up from there. If you're a competitor, you're already a professional, or you're playing at a professional level, obviously you might take a little bit more. Females in general don't need that much more. The extreme would be bodybuilders, female bodybuilders. It's a very small amount of them. That doesn't apply to most people out there. Male bodybuilders, what these guys say that they do and what they actually do are two different things, because they don't want every young 18-year-old going out there and jumping right into that high dose. It just doesn't work like that. You're going to hurt yourself more than anything. Just like you can't go squat 800 pounds the first 2 months into the gym, you can't just go on Ronnie Coleman's top end cycle. You know what I mean? And on top of all that, Ronnie Coleman had superior genetic work ethic and consistency, bar none, right? So for a male, I think you can start at 4 IUs, 2 and 2. You can start even less than that, but a moderate dose would be 4. Start there. 2 in the morning, 2 before bed. Your body creates growth hormone and secretes it at night before bed. So being very consistent at dosing is very important. And it's pituitary, right? Growth hormone?
Yeah.
Pituitary gland will shut down when exogenous, extra growth hormones coming in. It will shut down. But when you stop taking growth hormone, within 4 days it comes back to full production. So unlike the testes axis, where you'll shut down your testes production, and then with consistent prolonged use, we'll need TRT to manage those test levels after. Growth hormone isn't the same way. You usually can shut it on and turn it back off. The side effects of growth hormone, though, are blood sugar, insulin sensitivity. You got to watch these things.
Your nose.
What I mean by that is it'll increase your blood glucose. It can increase your A1C. So, what your diet is like, how much you take. If you're heavier in body fat, it's probably not going to work as effectively than when you're leaner. And then when you're leaner, it actually helps you keep and stay leaner, and stay in. So it's got a lot of positive benefits. The right TRT dose for just an average dude and 2 IUs of growth has been, compared to being kind of a fountain of youth. And there's a lot of guys, 60, 70, 80 years old that's on it, and they're outstanding dudes. And they love and live life at the highest level that they can, And then if you're going to add any more than that, I would probably dose 3 times a day then, or 4 times a day. No, you don't want to, growth hormone, 5-hour increments. If you're dosing it, and then also how many IUs, I just, if you're starting at 4 and you go to 6, I would take those 6 midday. The other 2 in the morning, 2 midday, 2 at night. I would take those 2 IUs probably right after you train. Or if you train first thing in the morning, you take your right out of bed dose. And then you would train, you take it right after. If you're going to train midday or mid-afternoon, I'd take it before you train and then right before you go to bed. Now, what is growth hormone in the you don't feel it like you feel tests. It's not going to I'm taking growth hormone, I feel completely different. You might feel some fluid retention, but its properties are awesome for in prep scenarios for retaining muscle while under a calorie deficit. And that's literally what testosterone does at the highest level too. So if you take it an hour before you do fasted cardio in the morning, it has fat burning effects that are quite awesome. And with what I've noticed with certain pharmaceutical grades, because there's different brands out there, you can get a big pump fluid retention feel where you're nice and full and round. But if you're not eating your food, and that's not on point, you're not training right, you're not going to have that effect, right? So we're very basic, and the industry comes out with all these little tricks of single arm pulls, position your body this way, do that. Don't overthink it. Go back to the basics.
Some weights.
Lift some fucking weights, get your sleep, hydrate well, salt your food, eat all your meals. And then once you do that for a couple of fucking years, maybe 3 to 5 if you're a young kid, and you've done it consistently and you've put weight on, you've put 30, 40 pounds of natural weight on, then entertain adding that. But only if you're going to do it and you think you're going to take it somewhere. Because just to do this shit, guys, there's too many adverse side effects and misinformation and coaches that aren't really coaches, that don't know what they're doing, don't have the experience. So just be careful, be cautious, make sure you got the right people in your corner.